Ideas are cheap, execution is everything. Welcome back to this week's video. Let's get into it. Here are some billion-dollar business ideas that need someone to build them. All of the ideas in the creator economy are ones I would love to work on. There's just so much opportunity. First, we have NFT avatar services, which will allow you to own the rights to your likeness in virtual worlds. With the proliferation of virtual reality and mixed reality, people are spending more time as avatars and holograms. Right now, you can use a service to create a lifelike avatar based on your appearance, or you can use a standardized avatar with customizable features such as hair color and eye color. If you get that lifelike rendering made, there is actually nothing stopping someone right now from copying your likeness and tearing around the metaverse as you. Right now, the average person might not care too much about this, but they will. When you look at celebrities and creators that make a living based on their likeness, they would care and they would pay a lot of money to secure not just their face, but their whole person. You can imagine if someone made a lifelike Kim Kardashian avatar in VR, I don't think she would be very happy about that, especially if she didn't own it. Next, we have a creator support services platform. This is a platform that brings together video editors, thumbnail designers, podcast producers, videographers, photographers, TikTok editors, you name it. This is another one that if I had time to work on it, I would. As a marketplace app, you could get an edge over platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, or Freelancer by first niching down and specializing in creator support services. Then 2, qualifying the candidates through a course or certification so you can really compare apples to apples. And then 3, embrace growth and long-term partnerships. The problem with other freelance platforms is that people who end up staying there are often the ones who are not savvy enough to strike out on their own. Sometimes it's because they are just starting out, and that's totally fine. That's what the platforms are there for. So I think there's opportunity there to launch these freelancers in a way that other platforms actively discourage. The first one in this category is an online course aggregator. The online course industry is growing like crazy. There are dozens of platforms like Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, Skillshare, Udacity that serve millions of people. And then there are platforms like Teachable and Kajabi that allow users to post individual courses under their own company branding that also have a million-strong user base. What we don't have is a way to see all of the offered courses for a given topic across all of these platforms. It's a huge discoverability problem. An aggregation tool also has the advantage of being able to offer a more objective review system and is a billion-dollar industry inside of a billion-dollar industry. Next, we have hydrogen industry safety training. If you work in the energy sector, you may have noticed a spike in green hydrogen production projects lately. Green hydrogen means that either the carbon generated during production was captured or the facility used renewable energy to break apart water molecules and is carbon neutral. As production increases, so does transportation and use of hydrogen. This is great for reducing CO2 emissions, but the caveat is that hydrogen is much more hazardous than other hydrocarbon gases like natural gas or methane. A lot of companies going into hydrogen production are new, and while production is on the rise, safety training for the transportation and use is not. This is a massive heads up to the industry that appropriate training needs to take place right now. While a training company would not be venture scale, it could still do very well, especially if they offer remote options. Next, we have a lessons learned database or failure database for companies that don't make it and why. We have PitchBook for the venture capitalist community to see how startups are funded, and they charge about $1,500 a month for a subscription. Now imagine the value in a database of business ventures and what their fatal flaw was. And this model is not just for startups. A lot of industries that do project-based work have a lessons learned database that is rarely, if ever, actually used. So there's a massive opportunity to reinvent how we view failure and turn it into a business. Under the kind of traditional innovation section, we have easy clothing recycling. The EPA estimates that textiles make up 5% of all landfills in the US, and only 15% of unwanted clothing is actually recycled. The average US citizen throws away an estimated 70 pounds worth of textile waste each year. Textile or clothing recycling services do exist, but the market is incredibly fragmented and sometimes you have to pay more than the clothing item's original value to get it recycled. If a company could make it as easy as putting out your cardboard boxes and actually turned the textiles into other garments, it could be a billion-dollar business. Then we have sustainable water desalination. It is pretty well known at this point that almost every country is facing a water crisis. Environmental researchers estimate that 60% of the world's population will experience water shortages by 2025. And already today, some nations are resorting to desalinating seawater to provide drinking water. Desalination is the process of removing salt and other impurities from seawater. It is expensive, time-consuming, and uses a lot of energy. For example, in Saudi Arabia, around 10% of the entire country's electricity is used for seawater desalination. And in Abu Dhabi, the desalination plants contribute to more than 22% of the Emirates' total CO2 emissions, and that's just for one city. This is why sustainable, energy-efficient desalination is a billion-dollar industry. We've seen solar-powered water desalination prove effective, but we have yet to see it on an industrial scale or incorporate complementary technologies such as wind power. This next one is a little bit out there, quite literally, and that is a nuclear power system for deep space exploration. For exploration within our solar system, solar power is currently pretty common, but to go into deep space, exploration teams will need something that doesn't rely on sunlight. Nuclear power systems can also be smaller than solar arrays, making the spacecraft easier to maneuver in space. If the mission is manned, the nuclear power system can also be used to power the life support system, cutting down on costs and flight time, according to Space Daily. Given the restrictions and hazards associated with working with radioactive materials, there has been relatively little innovation in this space, no pun intended, and to successfully pull off such a venture, you will need a combination of nuclear engineers and literal rocket scientists. That team is not going to be easy to put together, but if you can pull it off, the payoff will be a billion-dollar business and then some. If you decide to start a company based on one of these ideas, or if you'd like me to do a deep dive into any of these, let me know your thoughts in the comments. That is all for this video. As always, keep living your legacy, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.